Okay, this is Stu, and we're back with Dr. Korde. Welcome
Hi.
again.
Thank you.
And this is part of our little series looking and exploring Ayurveda because there's such an interest, not only in India, obviously, but also in the West now adopting some of these practices because it's really the sister science of yoga. So it's really right on our doorstep. So I thought I'd ask Dr. Korde about, first of all, the relationship between yoga and Ayurveda. How do the two sort of sit together?
Well, yoga was formed as a separate science at the same time when Ayurveda came into existence. As such, yeah. Though Ayurveda was set in before that, after that yoga has come in because it has come out of practice quite a lot.
Right.
The relationship between the two sciences is like body-mind relationship,
Mm-hmm.
which you cannot separate from each other. Yeah, but it doesn't have its singular existence.
Right.
Neither can the body live by itself, nor can the mind live by itself. So both have to be integrated together to get the fullest of the life.
So those people that are practicing one or the other,
Yeah,
then they're not maximizing
they
their
are not
potential.
they are not maximizing their attention on it. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, of course, there's many styles of yoga, some much more physical than others.
Yes.
And does it matter what style of yoga you're practicing, either constitution-wise or just globally as far as thinking of Ayurveda's view on the physical yoga practice?
First of all, it is all dependent on your physical body, what
Right.
you choose to practice and what you can tolerate. The moment you cannot tolerate a particular form of yoga, you move on to the next form of it and then try that out and follow it out.
And so by tolerate, do you mean just find it difficult or that it has
It
some
is-
adverse effect on you?
Yes, it is not that you will find it difficult only, but it will also show some adverse effects if not done properly.
Right.
Everything has to be practiced within a measure. If you go overboard a little bit,
Yeah.
then that's when you will see the consequences of it.
Right.
Otherwise, if you practice any form of yoga within the measure ascribed to your body constitution,
Yeah.
then you will derive the maximum benefits out of it.
So when we're thinking of, say, we could go to, maybe we have the two extremes of the ends of the scale. We've got like a yin style practice, which is very passive, very slow, shall we
Yes.
say. And then at the other end, maybe the Ashtanga Vinyasa, which is
Yes.
very dynamic, lots of
Yes.
jumping around,
Yes.
lots of strength and physical stuff.
Yes.
So if we're thinking of our own personal constitutions, first of all, do we need to challenge, if say let's say I'm a Kapha type,
Yes.
would there be a certain type of yoga that would suit me better, or should I be challenging my constitution with a type that doesn't fit, or how does it work?
Yeah. I would ideally say you don't challenge a situation.
Right.
You adapt to the situation in
Right.
such a way that slowly you turn your body with practice towards the desired result that you would like to achieve practicing the yoga.
Right.
It is a balance that you maintain between the yin type and the physically vigorous kind.
Right.
Yeah, you need the physically vigorous kind because you are kapha, so that your body gets more active because of that.
Yeah, and it burns some of that
yeah.
waiting fat that wants
Yes,
to.
yes, but the yin type is required
Yeah.
to keep you mentally elevated and calm. I have
Right.
used the term, two terms, mentally elevated
Yes.
and yet calm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So then on the other side, at the opposite end of the scale, or Pitta or Vata, they want out of their practice. They're already quite stimulated,
Yes.
aren't they, mentally
Yes.
and physically? So do they need a more of a calmer type of practice?
They need more of a calmer type of practice. So the best form I would advise for them would be the sun salutations, which they do, and
Right.
have a set of that done, and then sit in a meditative pose, and
So not too much jumping around.
not too
and-
much jumping around is required because they are
Okay.
already heated up and already burnt.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when we see, because thinking of what we see in the Ashtanga is a lot of lean bodies,
Mhm.
very minimal fat, because it is so fiery,
Mhm.
which tends to you to think towards the more Vata Pitta type of person. There also tend to be people that are professional people seem to be attracted to it. A-type personalities seem to be attracted to it because it is challenging, it's strenuous. But is that really the right type of thing for them to be doing, even though they're attracted to it because they maybe recognize certain traits in themselves within the practice? But is that going to support their body?
What is required constantly is perseverance in the field, whichever you are practicing.
Right.
Yeah. The first aim is to prepare your body for the old age. Youth is a very short phase of life. The energy that you have in youth cannot be carried on throughout your lifetime. So it's basically the practice of yoga is to prepare your body towards towards times wherein you will not be able to gather much energy within your body. So if you've understood this part of it and recognized this, then you wouldn't be doing things over.
So you could be doing way too much that may cause detriment later on.
Yeah, which will be detrimental later on for the physical body.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And so can you practice, I'm thinking of myself now and how my own maybe constitution is reflected in the practice. So I practice Ashtanga like everybody here.
Yeah.
But my breath is very slow and I move very slowly and I stay in things a long time.
Yes.
Rather than cycle through very quickly, which some other people do.
Yes.
So am I then playing to my constitution that my overall nature is relatively sluggish, shall we say, and I could do with speeding it all up? Or am I using something that would maybe be too vigorous for me otherwise and slowing it down to suit my own type? Am I sort of clear in what I'm trying to say?
Yes, absolutely. If we realize what is the difference between yoga and the other forms of exercises that are existing today,
right, yes,
then we will get a clearer picture of
Let's start with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yoga is a way wherein very slowly you squeeze out all the blood from a particular tissue, whether it is an abdominal tissue or the muscles or and then allow blood to flow back into it, so that thereby you move and cleanse your own channels. Whereas in the other forms of exercise, it is only strength building exercises which last till you do the exercises. The moment you stop doing those exercises, your body starts losing on its strength. If these differences have been recognized, then you will know that the slower you practice it, the more time you will take to drain the blood out from the system, and the more complete the exercise will be.
So
you don't need to hasten the process and make it very rapid and fast.
Right. So it'd be better to go slow.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is better to go slow for everyone.
Right.
Whether you're a Kapha type of personality, a Vata type of personality, or a Pitta type of personality.
Yeah.
It is go with the flow of your energy, go with your breath and achieve the maximum in the form of drainage and in the form of invigoration again.
And as far as time of day to practice, is generally speaking, Ashtanga is practiced early in the morning.
Early in the morning,
Yeah.
yes.
Does that fit in with the clock of Ayurveda, if there's such a thing?
Yes, it does fit into the clock of Ayurveda. If you know that dinacharya, or how you put your daily regimen in, as said by Ayurveda, then the first thing that you do after you wake up is cleanse your body, clean all the orifices, and after that, on an empty stomach, you're supposed to do the exercises, so that you activate your internal organs and stimulate them to tune them up to receive something inside, whether it is air, food, water, or emotions.
Yeah.
So you're building up your body for the day, so that you are preparing yourself to face the situation that you'll come across throughout the day.
Right.
And you finish with it at night, and then you rest the body enough. You rest the body enough, and next day you clean up the body totally. You clean up your bowels, you clean up your urinary tract, you clean up your oral orifice, you clean up your eyes and your ears and your nose, and after that you go back again to derive the maximum energy out of your own body.
So you start again.
Then you start again.
And so I quite like a little sleep in the afternoon, or siesta, shall we say. That doesn't really fit in well with Ayurveda, does it? Is it Does it mess up with your
No,
your
it
balance?
doesn't mess up with the balance. You have to know the seasons when you can do it,
Right.
and know the seasons when you're not allowed to do it.
Okay.
On a hot summery day like this,
Yeah.
you're allowed a siesta so that you can recoup your energies.
Okay.
back.
Okay.
But on a rainy day when it's already damp outside,
Yeah.
you will be accumulating more dampness in your body.
So then with
So on a wintry day as well, there's
Yep.
a lot of damp outside and it's cold outside, you will be accumulating more dampness in your body.
so then avoid it in those cold.
Avoid it in those times.
But when it's cold and dark outside mid-afternoon, isn't it nice to have a little nap?
No, it isn't not. It isn't nice to have a nap in that time. Yeah.
Okay.
The moment you put your body to rest, it is not working anymore.
Right.
So you're resting it, and when you're resting, you're accumulating.
Okay.
So kapha, or the mucus, or the watery content of the body, increases when you sleep.
Right.
You will always realize that, like in the morning, even though you're not having a catarrh or not having cold, you will see that there is mucousy secretions any part of the country
Yeah.
you live in or any part of the world you live in. That is because there are secretions which are accumulated overnight, which you need to throw out the next day morning.
Right.
Or you will see your tongue and the oral cavity is coated up.
Okay.
That is again accumulation at that place.
And so we're going to have a little talk about cleansing in a
Yes.
minute, but maybe we'll keep that.
Yeah.
We'll keep that separate.
Yeah.
I have quite a few people write to me and say, I really love the practice. I really love Ashtanga, but I find that if I practice more than say 3 times a week, and generally we're prescribing sort of 5-6 times a week, then I feel exhausted, I feel drained, and I feel I can't do anything else. So what are they doing to themselves that's putting them in the situation where they feel that the physical practice is not supporting them as
That
a
means
person?
they're overdoing it.
They're doing too much.
They're doing too much.
Yeah.
They're doing too much. You said 6 days a week, and I would say 7 days a week.
Right. So you would say practice the physical practice of yoga 7 days a week. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
And so at the same intensity or change the intensity?
Change the intensities according to the need of the body.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you have to always build it up. It cannot be done overnight.
Yeah.
It is the constant perseverance and practice that builds up the strength. It's not like a capsule which you can take in today and say, okay, I'm strong
ready
enough.
to go.
Yeah, ready to go.
But you don't feel that the body needs a day of recovery or that by practicing, because 7 days a week means every day of the month and every day of the year and every day of 10 years. The body doesn't need a break to actually recover from what you've been doing on the days before?
If the body needs food every day,
Right.
yoga is also an essential part of your living every day.
Right. Okay. That's good. It so happens that I tend to practice almost every day quite a bit, so that sort of fits. Now I have something to back it up with.
Yeah.
So that's quite good. Okay, so it can become a little bit addictive also, the physical pursuance of, shall we say, strength or exercise, or is there a limit to what we should be, how we should be using our body? Yeah, so the postures get more and more difficult as we go through the series,
Yes.
more and more demanding on the
Yes.
body.
Yes.
Is it a good thing for all the different body types to see themselves progressing through the different Ashtanga series, or is it, what's your view on where we should be going
Yeah,
to?
you can always mark your line and say, I can do up till this much and this much is enough for me.
Yeah.
Just it's like your stomach. You can eat a certain quantum of food and you can decide for yourself that now my stomach is full and I don't need more than this.
Yeah.
Similarly with the exercise, the easiest technique which Ayurveda has prescribed is you slow down on exercise once you start perspiring under your arms.
Okay. So in this
Yes.
weather, we'd probably just walk through the door and
Yeah.
turn around and go back out again.
Yeah, but it's not now. But when you start your exercises in the morning, I'm sure it's not going to be the same situation.
Yeah, although it's
Yeah.
pretty warm. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
So when you start perspiring under the arms,
Yes, when you
Then-
start perspiring under the arms, that's
Yeah.
when that's your physical limit. You can just go a little above that
Yeah.
to derive a little more
Okay.
strength out of it, and then you go down.
Okay.
Slow.
So I would say that generally speaking, at this time of year, that everybody in the Shala is covered in sweat by the
Yes.
time they've finished.
Yes.
So are they doing way too much?
if it's a training program, they're allowed to do way too much because this is the only time they can learn it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when you practice, you have to make your own. You have to draw your own line.
In the sand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's interesting because a lot of people will be out there saying, well, that's the case every day I practice. I'm like that.
Yes.
Yeah. And so it's about not using up too much of your vital energy that you won't have then later in life.
Yes.
So just doing the right amount.
Yeah. Just like each one is born with chi, a certain quantum of energy, which we have to utilize till the end of our lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you do see it sometimes in long-distance runners and things like that, that they look drawn.
They age very fast
after a certain period of time. Or maybe some professional sports players, footballers and that sort of thing.
You're perfectly correct with that,
But generally speaking, yoga people, although it can be quite physical, unless they've lost too much weight, actually have quite a youthful look. I think it almost takes years off. So why do you think that is?
They glow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they glow because they not only gain, they not only cleanse their bodies with the postures, they also gain strength and they accumulate what is called as chaitanya, which is the brightness, which is why you feel them glowing.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of getting the right level for you. Feel it supporting you and not dragging you down.
Not dragging you down.
Yeah.
Because everything comes in a measure. You cannot overdo anything. Whether it is food, whether it is exercise, or whether it is play or anything. Everything comes in a measure.
Yeah, I think those are sort of the words that your mums often use, you know, moderation in everything, you know. I think I remember my mum saying that to me like millions of times when I was off to play tennis all afternoon and the next morning or whatever. Yeah, okay, so moderation. Brilliant. Thank you so much, and we're going to continue our chat a little bit later. Thanks, guys.